This is a nice and aggressive over those bunkers.
Yeah, but he did bring that left bunker into play. It's 320 yards away. He's going to take it over the right ones.
Right.
It's too far right.
Just don't hit anyone, please. Keep going.
As long as he's inside those crowds, he won't be too bad, because that rough's not too bad there.
He was appealing for it not to hit anyone. I suspect not because he was too concerned about hurting somebody, but more because he wanted the ball to keep going. Maybe that's
a little bit cynical.
You used a red tee there. You don't often
You
see.
don't use a red tee.
No, never use a red tee. I never hit a fairway with a red tee.
You're kidding. I'm surrounded here by
just the iron for Stenson. Accuracy being the key for him. Well, maybe at some point, actually I'm not sure that he is coming in today, but at some point we might hear from Dennis Hutchinson. He has the heebie-jeebies if there's a red tee anywhere near the tee. Monty never used to like red tees either. He was very funny. She said, not superstitious about many things, but he used to play only with a white tee. He said, I can't use a red or yellow tee because those are hazard markers, but I use a white tee. But Monty,
it's OB.
That's an out of bounds marker.
Yes.
Oh, never mind.
Let's take a look at this swing. He's bowing that left wrist a little bit on the way back. But that's a beautiful position there. Club face is lovely. You can tell when a person is swinging it well, those knees work beautifully together. And it's a slow-mo of Henrik Stenson's club through the impact area. Look at that turf, it's just wonderful. The sand that pops up.
Just the two men, Poulter and Speith, leading at 3 under. Manley has been joined in the clubhouse by Alex Noren. A couple of birdies on the back nine, home in 34 for a 68. Russell Henley's had a birdie at the 15th to get to 2 under. And Matt Fitzpatrick, good opening round from the Sheffield man, a 69. Justin Rose dropping a shot at the 10th, falling back to 1 under.
3 under par doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider that the par now here is 70, you know, for normal people who play golf around here, it would be a 72 par. When they first started playing the Open Championship here, I think it was 74.
73
par.
Yeah, it was 73 when Thompson shot 283
in 54.
Yep.
Was it?
Yeah, it was 73. It was also a par 73-61 when Arnold Palmer won.
They have par 4s that are over 500 yards long. There's some stronger holes on the way in. The last few holes coming into this.
It wasn't that long ago where it was pretty clear. It was sort of 240, 245, up to 245 was a par 3, 245 to 475 was a par 4. Anything over 475 was a par 5. Now you can get par 4s 510 yards or more.
Kim got quite fortunate not rolling into that bunker. You can see straight downwind.
Those are the tailor-made bags. The companies now, especially TaylorMade and Callaway, tend to produce bags specifically for the major championships, and that's the Open Championship bag with the cross of St George on, despite the fact that he's Korean. They all have that.
Who's St George?
Who is St George?
He's Korean.
Confused? Watch Sabe.
Now this is an interesting lie on that upslope, so it's going to get up very, very quickly, which is going to be an extra assist with the wind behind him. About 240 is what's left for him. Get up there.
I first saw that bag walking around with Justin Rose with the gold top on it. I thought, oh, that's nice. They've recognised the fact that he's the Olympic gold medalist and they've given him a gold top. Then I realised they will have the same. It would have been a nice touch. They missed a trick.
Perfect tee shot. Nice wide open inviting second shot for Stenson. Once again, those two bunkers need to be avoided in the front of the green. And that's a beauty.
It's just a seaside breeze at the moment, really. Nothing more than that. It's what you expect to play in the coastal links around Britain.
We have to go right behind him, we're going right in here with the back of the camera with this guy. You're good.
You have to drop it and says
That's what happens.
well, the original position was maybe this much forward. Put your poles down, please.
Sounds like somebody's trodden on the ball. And in this case, I think it'll be impossible to replicate the original lie, so he's going to have to drop it as near as possible to it. Looks like a good drop too.
Remind everyone, no phones or photography while it's taking a shot, please.
Just in that long stuff, which is, if his ball had been 6 or 8 inches further to the right, he would have had a far easier shot. Which is where the gallery are walking. You can see a lot of longer grass around the ball that could just twist the club face close, is what generally would happen. You can see that front bunker now is just off his line to the right, so he needs to just sneak it past the left-hand side of that bunker. Wow, that is a good shot.
He's hit some really good recovery shots today because he has been a bit wayward at times. But he keeps giving himself birdie chances, and frankly anything on the green is a birdie chance for Speith. He actually did get a pretty good lie there. Could have been a lot worse. The unmistakable figure of David Fairty giving Speith the benefit of his wisdom. Rich Beam in the foreground, another on-course commentator. Now I know there will be people joining us all the time and leaving us as well, no doubt. So a little reprise of what Speith has done thus far. First birdie at the second. Hasn't dropped a shot so far. Birdie at the 8th. He's looking very relaxed. He appeared yesterday to be just having a good time. Third birdie at the 9th to be out in 31.
Every putt was perfect pace in the middle of the hole. And it makes a difference to your confidence when you see your putts actually go in the middle and not drop in on the sides. It gives you that extra little boost that, you know what, I'm really hitting my putts beautifully this week.
Brooks Koepka has birdied the 11th, dangerously moving into contention. I must admit, I thought the way he was hitting it in practice was very impressive. And he's certainly not going to be troubled by the distance of the course. however hard the wind blows. Justin Thomas, another player who's right there at 1 under. Has a great game for links golf. He can manoeuvre the ball high, low, left, right. Great field player.
And he makes a lot of birdies.
A lot of birdies, and hits it a long way as well.
Yeah, it does. He leads the PGA Tour in birdies made, and in fact, Jordan Spieth is number 2. Averages 4.6 birdies around. It's a lot of birdies.
Kim looking for a birdie here, but will be happy to 2-putt. Yeah, I must say it's a very impressive looking leaderboard so far, with Hideki Matsuyama up there as well at 1 under. And Els has birdied the first hole.
Apparently he's playing very nice golf for any else.
Well, I can report that on Saturday he won the member at Queenswood, the very select course in Surrey, where he's a member, and Johan Rupert is also a member, and they played together and they won it. It was more important than playing in the Scottish Open.
He was also at Wimbledon.
And Henley and
Lords.
And Lords, yes, all round on the social circuit. That.
Well, you know, I think he deserves it. He's had a wonderful career.
Absolutely right.
And a very long one too. First came out, I think he turned pro in 1989, so what's that, 28 years? It's a long career, isn't it? And a very successful one as well. Turn.
I tried to get a rise out of him the other day because I actually bumped into him at Wimbledon, and I introduced him to my children and said this is one of the greatest golfers that's ever walked the earth, has won more tournaments around the world than anybody apart from Gary Player. And he didn't bat an eyelid. I was trying to get a little rise out of him.
But you were talking the truth.
Did you impress your kids?
The kids were very impressed. Yeah, they loved it. Yeah, they had great fun because they met Sean Pollock as well, who, my son is a very keen cricketer, and Sean Pollock gave him a tip or two about how to play good cricket.
He's a good guy.
Good golfer too.
Nice golfer, yeah.
Scratch golfer, hits it a long way. Yes, he's a top man.
I think he had ideas of trying to get onto the senior tour.
Yeah.
And until he went to watch a few other players who'd played on the senior tour, and I think he realised he had a long way to go.
Yes. Now Stenson. It's got a chance. Oh, wow, that's what I must have teased him all the way.
He's had a few teasers. He could have been 2 or 3 shots better.
Perfectly placed. 1 under par.
He's looking in pretty good shape to successfully defend his title. But it ain't going to be easy, that's for sure.
It's a mighty long way to go. Now Spieth. Little heavy-handed with his first putt. Now, does he look at the hole? Still does that every now and then. Not this time. Straight in the middle. When he's putting well, he really is a dangerous man.
He's hard to beat. Because you know that every round of golf he plays, he's going to hold 3 or 4 20-footers.
Did you hear about Garcia at the Masters? Talking of looking at
Yes,
the hole.
well, I heard you at an event.
Yeah,
was it
at
Germany?
BMW, yeah.
When you said he putted with his eyes closed.
Yeah. Apparently it's true.
Who did you hear that from?
David Levitt.
Wow. That's incredible.
Was that intentional? Well, hold.
I'm surprised no one's asked him in press conferences. Or maybe they have, and he's refused to answer.
I don't know. I've not heard anything more about it, actually. I haven't seen him to ask him. On to the short 14th, playing 188 yards today. The flag 15 on and 6 in from the left. It's a little slope, as you see, just to the right of the flag that will take it away. So again, although these greens are quite a good size, you've got to be in the right part of it to have a realistic chance of making birdie. Lovely shots from the air again. As we had last week in Dundonald, it just makes so much difference to have an airplane up there. You get these lovely aerial shots, get a much better idea of what the whole complex looks like.
All the par threes here are quite similar in look, aren't they? All slightly downhill,
Yeah.
except for the 12th is maybe the green is slightly above you, but the other 3 par threes, same sort of bunkering, you know, bunkers on the corners of the green.
Like the 4th, this has got a 5-yard downhill element.
And also all very similar in length. This on the card is the longest par 3, but they range from 177 to 200. You know, not much difference in the length of the holes.
One of the great things about this hole is the next hole is a par 5, finally. it's a little respite.
Only 2 par 5s and both on the back 9.
It's strange to play your first par 5 so late in the round. Siwoo Kim, has he lost that left? Oh, a long way left. That was a poor shot.
May be obstructed by the grandstand, but there is a drop zone right there.
The unusual feature for Speith is that he doesn't turn that left foot out at an angle towards.
Hey, sir! Sir! Marshall! Keep going. No, you that way. Sir! Thank you. All right. Good target, good posture.
Whoever's in his way is now completely confused because they've told him to go to the right and they've told him to go to the left. He doesn't know where to go. I think he should just lie down.
Enough.
Yeah, you're saying he doesn't splay out his left foot, but he really rolls over on it and turns up the left toe. It looks most painful.
Well, the theory used to be the more you turned your left foot out, the easier it was to shift your weight onto your left side. But as you say, he rolls that left foot over, which has the same effect. What is going on here? Who do you think they're talking to?
As Mark James was pointing out early in the piece, the marshals are quite visible.
Yes, they are.
Probably only an 8 iron for Stenson.
Wind from right to left. Oops.
going to be a tough one to get close and win. So it won't be an easy birdie 4 on 15, but I think you'll find we'll see a lot of birdies on 17. In fact, Stuart Manley eagled the 17th earlier in the day. Is his backswing being impeded by that grandstand? If it is, he's got the option to, well, the only option is to drop it in the drop zone, and looks like he's going to do that.
And you go to the nearest drop zone, no matter whether it's nearer the flag or not. This is.
I think the cameraman needs to move.
Is it the only time that you can move the ball nearer the hole? I think this is.
He's blissfully unaware.
It's a tiny drop zone.
That's Peter with the RF camera there, a former leading BBC cameraman, golf cameraman. He's been on the links for a good many years.
One of the great features here of the boards as you go around the golf course that actually tell you some of the rules, like they almost have like a little rules quiz. And interesting to see the way he dropped that ball from shoulder height. That is one of the rules that they're looking to possibly change in the future.
Drop it from ankle height.
It's quite captivating. When I was walking the golf course on Tuesday, Wednesday, I kept looking at the rules just to see if I was getting them right. That's interesting.
But you've never played. You've never played by the rules.
See everything running away from him as it hits the green. Oh, he has to hit the green first. Almost went into Henrik Stenson's pitch mark.
God, how unlucky is that? If that had settled in there. So Stenson will go first, and then Kim is entitled to have the bunker raked back to the condition it's in now, if necessary. He could actually mark his ball and pick it out if he wanted to, because it's liable to get a bit of sand on it.
Judging by his practice swing, he's just going to leave the club in the sand.
You can see those rut marks through there. Don't think he'll be particularly happy with that.
He hasn't dropped a shot yet. He needs to hold this.
Beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
Kim Si-woo, one of 6 Kims on the PGA Tour, including Anthony Kim, who I don't know what's happened to him.
He doesn't play anymore.
Given up completely.
Well, I read in an article that he had an insurance policy out and he got injured, and it was quite a huge policy, but if he plays he doesn't get the insurance money. That's a rumor, allegedly. But he was an incredible player.
For a very short time, though.
Yeah, for about 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Won a couple of times. Had a great Ryder Cup.
Oh, fantastic singles against Garcia. Followed that. Spieth for his birdie. It's in. Oh, he makes those putts like shelling peas. 4th birdie of the round. No drop shots. He's leading on his own at 4 under.
And 2 par 5s still to play. And this could be a spectacular round.
He's one clear of Poulter, the clubhouse leader, after a 67, and Brooks Koepka, who has just birdied the 11th and the 12th, to get to 3 under. James Hahn with his third birdie of the day, the 11th at 2 under, having come in as the first alternate this morning for Brandt Snedeker. What a wonderful thing to do. Get in at the last minute and start well. Now Stenson for his par. Good strike. Oh. I think from his reaction he knew immediately that he'd slightly undercooked it, but only just.
Bit of a frustrating day for Henrik Stenson.
It's the story of his season, isn't it? It's been like it all year.
And you often hear commentators say when a ball ends up on the lip like that, oh, one more roll and he would have been in. But do you know how much the ground a roll of the ball covers? It's 5.2 inches.
I was just going to say over 5 inches here.
Kim drops back to 1 under. It's a bit of a swing there with a birdie for Speith and bogeys for the other two on a short little hole. Moving to the par 5 15th, 542 yards, which is 2 yards shorter than last year. It's very curious. Quite a lot of holes are just 1 or 2 yards different to, not last year, the last time they played here. The whole course is 17 yards shorter. Speith leading by 1 from Poulter in the clubhouse. Koepka alongside him at 3 under. Manley and Noren in the clubhouse. There's James Hahn also at 2 under. Amazing number of people who've been starting with birdie this morning.
Now playing into the wind. Those bunkers, those 3 left bunkers could be in play. It's 270 to clear the last one. So aiming at the 2 on the right side, it's 300 to get there. So I don't think these players will be able to reach those 2 bunkers. That is absolutely perfect. Straight down the middle.
That's a long tee shot too. He's got it. Looks like 15 yards past that last bunker. 290-yard tee shot into the wind.
Ball's not going any further now, though, Dan.
I don't think the ball is entirely to blame. I think the technology also that they combine with TrackMan, they now understand, you know, to hit the ball with less spin. You know, because I once saw on a range on the Asian Tour 2 fellas, each with the same swing speed, 105 miles per hour. One player hit it on the descending 4 degrees down, and another player with the same swing speed hit it on the up 4 degrees. And the difference was 30 yards in their drives. So I think all these, they all have this technology available, and they're taking advantage of it.
Stenson out with the driver again. It's, I think, at least the 3rd time he's used it today. You hardly see a player now on the European Tour on the range without a TrackMan. They've spread like topsy.
It's quite beneficial.
Oh, that looks pretty handy. I think what the equipment has done, it's allowed the players to get much stronger, and they all are much stronger now, and to hit the ball harder. You simply couldn't do it now when you were, I mean, you were a strong man, but you couldn't swing it that hard and maintain control.
Well, in those days also with wooden golf clubs, you had to learn, you had to hit the ball in the middle of the club.
Yes.
That was the first thing. And you couldn't do that swinging the golf club at flat out speeds. So the way the equipment is also influenced a different way of learning the game. That you can learn the game by hitting the ball as hard as you like, because it doesn't matter where you hit it on the face. And you know, that was the way Jack Nicklaus learnt the game, even though in those days with wooden clubs. Jack Grout, who taught him in the early days, or in his early days, said to him, "I want you just to smash it. We'll straighten you out later. We'll get you back on the golf course later, but I want you to learn to hit the ball hard."
Good look at the 15th, into the wind. Those two bunkers on the left are in play, but many players, if it's downwind, will be flying it over there, and then it slightly moves from left to right on the second shot. It's still going to be a lengthy second for the players today. And the pin today towards the back right portion of this green, so it's actually quite accessible. And it's the first par 5 on this golf course, very late in the round.
Yeah, I remember the late Bob Torrance, who was such a wonderful coach. Sam's dad always said the same thing, that teach him to smash it first, then we'll teach him how to hit it straight.
Also, what were the shaft weight on the driver before? 130 grams, 135 grams? Nowadays, some of these players have got 48 gram drivers.
And the length of the shaft. You're playing with golf clubs that are 2 inches longer than the players did 25 years ago.
And the loft.
So you've got less loft, longer shafts,
much less spin.
Materials on the club faces that the ball comes off a lot quicker. So, you know, all sorts of different things that influence the distance the ball is traveling. Although the one thing that's against it is the fact that the fairways are much more watered than they used to be. So it just shows how much, if you played on exactly the same golf course, imagine how much further the ball would really go.
Well, I think particularly on the PGA Tour, they expect to hit driver every hole. Nice wide wet fairways, just smack it up there. And
but actually, wet fairways widens the golf course.
Yeah, that's why you can.
Yeah.
Golf is much more interesting in my view, especially links golf when it's played in firm conditions. Running fairways doesn't have to be super horrible rough, hard greens. And I think it's much more interesting to play as well, because you have to use your imagination, hit different shots.
I don't think I've spoken to one player who likes it wet and soft. Every professional golfer likes to play firm and fast courses, but they don't encounter it very often these days. This is about the only week.
Well, everybody's trying to make the golf courses longer. So one way to make it longer is to pour more water on. So he's probably going to have a shot of what, 240, Dom?
To the front edge, I think. Yeah.
Driver. This is risky.
Didn't go at it. Swung very easily. Tried to chase it up there. I think he caught that a little bit heavy, actually. Certainly not much run.
I would have thought a 3 wood for Speith. Yes, it looks like it. Just try and thread it right between the 2 bunkers that protect each side of the screen.
Bunker.
That was so close. Get back in that pot bunker, I think. I mean, that's
It was strange.
5
It
yards
looked like
left.
it took off to the right, but he didn't look like he was worried about it. So you had the feeling that he hit it out there with the touch of a draw. Clearly it wasn't, though.
He's got an interesting setup with these Titleist clubs. He's got the 3 wood and then 2 with the same orange shaft, 2 utility irons, they call them, the 3 and 4 utility irons, as well as a 3 iron. Now Stenson with 252 yards left, and I imagine it'll be one of his 3 irons.
I'd imagine it's a stronger one.
The red one. That's a 2-iron.
Is it?
Yeah. But it's marked as a 3. The 2-iron loft.
That's sneaking right. Some thick rough over that bunker. I didn't think he could get there. 252 into the wind.
It's obviously just between clubs. That might well be trickling into the bunker. But he's got nothing between that and the 3-2 wood. The view of Speith from high in the sky. He said it was very close. Well, it wasn't far away, actually. If he just carried that little shoulder, it would have kicked onto the flag.
That's 5 yards left of that. It's right next to it.
There you go. For the man himself.
Very popular young man, especially on the PGA Tour. He came at the perfect time. It's just what golf needed, wasn't it? Nice, clean-cut, young, exciting golfer.
He's been coached by Cameron McCormick since the age of 12. He's got an academy at Trinity Forest in Dallas. It's interesting looking back over the years how a lot of the great players have gone through life with just one coach, and maybe not too much interference either. Others seem to bat from one to another with monotonous regularity.
I was just going to say, that sounds like you.
It sounds like me,
Because you listen to everybody, don't you?
and anybody else who's around, yeah.
But you're 100% right. There are so many, and there's a lot of players start out with a coach who have a coach they work with for years and years and years, and then they feel maybe they're getting stale, and they try something new, and then they often go back to the first guy.
Luke Donald.
Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood, very successfully in Fleetwood's case. Sadly, Luke Donald, I think, is maybe not going to make it back. Who knows? I don't want to write him off yet, but certainly struggling. But yes, Tommy's had a wonderful comeback.
Absolutely. You see Speith's ball in the middle of the bunker, so shouldn't have any issues, and he's a marvellous bunker player. He's as good as
It's
anybody.
Stenson's ball in there, isn't it?
No, Stenson is short, I believe, because Speith hit the bank and rolled back in.
I thought Stenson's was going to dribble down there as well. Maybe, no, you may be right.
First to play, Siwoo Kim. Actually won this PGA Tour card as a 17-year-old, but he was too young to be eligible because they have an age limit minimum on the tour, on the PGA Tour of 18, so he couldn't play for 6 months.
That's like Dale Hayes. He played his best golf when he was still in nappies.
You're not kidding.
But you were the youngest, weren't you?
It won't be long before I'm in nappies again.
That's not a pleasant thought. Can we move swiftly on? But you got your European Tour card. Were you the youngest at the time?
I was 18.
Yeah.
I was 18 years old.
Were you the youngest to win the Order of Merit?
I'm not sure about that. I was the youngest to win a tournament for many years. The Spanish Open at 18. And then I won the Order of Merit when I was 22 and 23.
1975, right?
Yeah,
You won.
I turned 23 in the middle of the year. Now, I'm not sure. Sevi won, I think, in 1977 or 78. And he couldn't have been much older than that.
I think Stenson was quite fortunate not to roll into the bunker here, but he's just stayed above ground.
Quite a tight lie.
You do such lovely things with tight lies there, can't you?
But when you chip like me, every shot's off a tight lie.
Well, yeah, your chipping is almost as bad as mine. Oh, that sounded a bit clunky.
That's a beautiful shot. Beautiful shot.
I think he may have gotten away with one there.
Yes, I think he did.
I'm not sure that was how he meant to hit it at all.
I think you're right. I think he did get away with it.
He was
the way he
playing
looked, the way he looked at his caddy.
He was playing for spin. And
Yes. Harold Henning always used to say, it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive.
If your driving's no good, you don't arrive too often, though. That's the trouble. Now, he is a wonderful bunker player. Look how open he's holding the club in his backswing here. He firmly believes he's going to hold these every time. You can be wrong, though, even if your name's Jordan Speed.
But he's so aggressive through the ball. Oh, really accelerates and not much of a follow through. It's a heavy hit in the sand.
From the air. Just into a little bit of a swell there. You can see the darker shading of the grass. Killing it quicker than he would have liked. A lot of what I suppose the Scots would call whin bushes around here. A lot of it is gorse, but all sorts of other things as well that wouldn't have been here originally. Some courses, actually, you'll see it if you watch the Seniors Open at Royal Porthcawl next week, have cleared out all the gorse, and it looks quite different. They've either dug it out or burnt it out there, and it really opens up the links.
Still quite tight. Played it on Sunday, and the rough is it's quite severe.
I think this course, well, Turnberry has some quite high mounting, but I think this has higher natural dunes throughout the course than almost any of them.
And it's interesting how they, as I said earlier, they play through through the middle of the
It does
dunes.
make it a great stadium
They don't play
course.
over them. Yes, a perfect stadium course. Great golf course to watch.
Not an easy putt, this. Up a little slope and then
Go, go, go,
top
go,
of
go,
the
go, go,
ridge.
go.
Oh, I didn't see that moving to the right at the end.
Nor did he. Just a par 5. Remains at the top of proceedings.
I think you can blame that trap shot. We need to get that a bit closer. I wonder if that's affected his thinking now on this putt. The way they just moved away right at the end.
Same thing. He's played 66 tournaments on the PGA Tour so far in his young life and has made only 50% of the cuts, missed the cut 50% of the time, which is what we were describing earlier, really, how he's very much up and down, but he's still won $5.6 million so far. Just a mere 2.5 million this year, having won, of course, the Players, the big one.
I saw in the newspapers this morning, the headlines were how much money various people in Britain get paid, people in the media industry. And I didn't see your picture there.
Oh, no, it's BBC you're talking about.
Or was that only BBC?
It's only BBC, yeah.
Oh, is that why your picture wasn't there?
Correct.
Imagine you are
otherwise it would have
obviously
been.
one of the big earners.
Otherwise it would have been, of course, yeah. Yeah, I'd be right up there with Gary Lineker.
That little chip shot.
Just dropped a shot on the 14th at this one for a birdie. Well done. Back into red figures.
Three birdies, 2 drop shots for Stenson. Looking good with the 17th hole still to play. Par 5. Still finish in 67 or 68.
Yeah.
quite a long walk back now. It's a good 150 yards or so to walk back to the 16th tee. It used to be the 15th when Arnold Palmer played it and struck his famous shot from out of the bushes up the right-hand side.
Have you seen that, Mark?
I have, yeah.
Have you? I tried to find it yesterday. I couldn't find it.
It's there.
It's on
Yeah,
the right
I'm sure
side.
it is there, but I couldn't find it. I'm not used to going into the rough, though. So, Arnold Palmer, 1961 Open Championship.
You managed to say that with a totally straight face, which
That's
even
what
for
it
you
says.
is quite unusual.
That's what it says on it.
I know it's what it says on the plaque, yeah.
I took a
Evidently.
picture of it the other day.
How did you? Dennis Hutchinson was telling me he played in that Open, and he was telling me that he actually saw that shot. And when he hit that shot, he said it was like this whole bush exploded. He said he's never seen anything like it, how hard he hit that shot to get it out of that thick rough.
Dennis Hutchinson played in...
Long walk back to the 16th tee, as Julian says, and then you face this tee shot. A couple of bunkers to the right side, which shouldn't be in play. There's plenty of room to the left there, and actually gives you a good opening into this green with the second shot. And the rough on the left side is not too thick, so it's actually not a bad place to be. You certainly just want to avoid the right side of this hole off the tee.
Why didn't somebody tell Arnold Palmer that?
Yeah, well,
I'm sure it was very different in those days, but as you say, the rough on the left is actually
it's fine.
not bad at all. But it's an awkward angle, this tee shot, because you're kind of playing across the fairway, aren't you?
Yeah, it is. And you see that TV tower just on the left edge of the fairway. That's
Yes.
actually not a bad line, just to the right of that.
But although it's not a narrow fairway, if you pace across the fairway, it's narrow at the angle that you're playing it.
And if you don't carry the ball about 180, 200 yards, you don't play from this tee. Because that's a lot of horrible stuff you have to get over.
That looks like a driver again for Stenson. Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. He had the yips with the driver. About 15 years ago. I mean, he could miss it 100 yards left, and then the very next tee, 100 yards right, and almost drove him off the tour.
And not just with the driver, actually. I remember doing the same thing with a 3-wood off the fairway. That preset to the right looks ever more prominent. He's trying to get rid of it, actually, but not an easy thing to do.
Funny enough, that didn't look too bad, that rough there in there, but that's not the place to go with your tee shot.
Tremendous tented encampment as ever at the Open Championship. Now it's vast, takes them months to set it all up.
Also out to the right.
Well, they've got it anyway. It's the great thing about playing in front of spectators. Generally, you don't lose your ball.
I could have been really good if I had a lot of spectators following me.
I think you might have needed more than that.
Finally, Kim also with the driver.
That left-hand grip's very weak, isn't it? That's why he bows it on the way back.
Oh, there's the black. Look.
There it is, yeah.
Ah, okay. I was looking further in the rough, that's why I didn't find it.
And it's obviously got a bit overgrown because it almost looks actually as though it's been re-turfed around it.
So good speeds. banking right. And, ooh. Hard to tell.
It's down on that level spot down there, right next to that road. So let's hope he gets lucky with the lie. I see there. It's interesting. You're talking about, you know, the tented village and how many people that, you know, they need to accommodate here. I mean, you just look at the crowds everywhere on the golf course. They're expecting over 200,000 people. 33,000 people the first 1954, the first time they played it here.
Amazing, isn't it? But have a look at this. Brooks Koepka got 3 birdies in a row from the 11th to get into a share of first place with Jordan Spieth. What a leaderboard we've got already. Hideki Matsuyama only 3 back. Defending champion Henrik Stenson right there. Alex Levy's in very good form this year.
Yes, and Koepka's got 2 par 5s to come too.
Does Koepka know what a par 5 is?
Well, no, don't think it exists. He's hitting, what was the last hole at the US Open? It was over 600 yards. He got there with an iron.
Good to see there the two, let's call them veterans, Ernie Els and Steve Stricker. 1 under par.
Justin Rose has dropped another shot at the 14th to go back to level par. Yeah, we were talking about Stricker earlier, how he's made this
Terrific golf.
You got another 28 yards.
Yeah, they call it the Gulf Coast.
58 front.
Yeah, you got to 90-ish.
But not many people talk about it. You know, you hear people going on golfing holidays, they want to go to Ireland and Scotland, justifiably so, but there's some gems here. You could spend a week, 2 weeks here and play a different course
75.
every day, and a very good course every day.
You could spend your life here and play a very good golf, very good course every day.
Right, let's hope he's got a decent lie and he's able to attack this green. Not a
Came out straight
perfect
right.
angle because he's got to come over that front bunker. Oh. He didn't get over the front one, but caught the second one.
Just stand now, guys. Thank you.
He's quite near the back part of that bunker.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Some interesting pin placements out there today. They put this one right in the front of the green, which brings all those bunkers into play.
Well, they're going to have to be a bit careful with the pins tomorrow, one would think, because the forecast winds are strong.
You almost have to bounce this on the front edge of the green, or just short of the green, coming out of the rough. You land it on, it's going to bounce over. Oh, he's played that beautifully.
Judge the distance to perfection coming out that rough. Yes, that's why he earns the big bucks.
Here, please. Thank you.
See, I mean, pretty much straight into him here with a second shot. The green probably 2 or 3 yards above the level of the fairway.
He gives absolutely nothing away. You would not know from his face what sort of shot he's hit. Stenson looking quite cheerful, as well he might. Started with 4 pars and then a birdie at the 5th. Sixth hole is the hardest 6th hole on the open rotor and the second hardest hole of any behind the 17th at St Andrews, so not surprising perhaps that he dropped a shot there.
Birdie on the par 3. 7th after a drop on the 6th, and then the par 3 14th. He was in the bunker, didn't have a particularly good bunker shot, and this was a good looking putt, and just stopping literally millimeters from the front lip. So that was a bogey. And on the 15th, the first par 5 of this wonderful golf course, avoided the pot bunker in the front of the green and hit a lovely chip, and that was a birdie, and he gets back to 1 under.
Well, let's see now if we can watch a special bunker shot here from Jordan Spieth.
Well, a poorish bunker shot on the last hole, but you can see, look at that, he's leaning well to his left. He's got to pick the club up very quickly.
That's a great shot. From an awkward lie, that's a very, very good shot. And a good chance to save his par here at the 16th.
Ricky Fowler, Adam Scott and Paul Casey have just teed off. Paul Casey birdieing the first, the other 2 par.
This needs to be on the fairway.
Well, he's been hitting the draw pretty well.
Lucky. That is very fortunate. He doesn't know that. He won't be able to see it because it's gone over the mound. But that's in good shape now.
And talking of great shots, one of the great open shots was Podrick Harrington's 5-wood for his second shot in here in the final round in 2008 when he made eagle and really sealed the victory. Spieth carrying the mound, and actually he may well be absolutely fine there. Not very thick rough. There you get an idea of the enormous tented encampment that is the Open nowadays.
You don't see the ocean very often on the golf course. You only see it a couple of times, but you don't realize actually how close you are to the ocean.
No. It's a sea.
The sea. What's the difference?
One smaller than the other.
And there's just to the
It's
south.
a channel, actually. It's the Irish Channel. Sorry, no.
Sorry, I was just saying, just to the south is that the town of Ainsdale. And a little bit further north is Southport. Looking towards the southeast at the moment.
We're just on the edge of Southport. Birkdale Hills was known as originally. The club was founded in 1889 on the 30th of July. This wasn't the original site, but this course was built early 1920s by Hawtrey and J.H. Taylor.
1889, same as the Hong Kong Golf Club.
And of similar stature.
Thank you.
Both have beautiful clubhouses. This clubhouse wasn't the original one, actually. The original one was knocked down. This one was built in 1935 in the Art Deco style. Very famous club, which you lose completely, really, when you have all the open here, all the stands. You rather it loses the effect, but normally it's dramatic when it's not surrounded by the grandstands.
Also, it's had a few more major championships played here than Royal Hong Kong.
It's had more championships than any other course of all different descriptions, as we see the shot facing them, including Ryder Cups and Walker Cups and Open Championships, Women's, Ladies Opens, Senior Open, Amateur Championships.
Curtis Cup.
The list goes on and on. Yes, amazing.
In fact, the very famous 1969 Ryder Cup where the Jack Nicklaus and Tony Jacklin came up the last hole all even, and the putt was given to Tony Jacklin by...
That's right. A concession. Just a pitch out for, or a splash out for Siwoo Kim.
Sadly, the Hong Kong Golf Club is no longer royal. It used to be royal, and the Birkdale got its royal nomenclature in 1951. Can't remember when Hong Kong got its.
I know when it lost it.
Yeah.
Well, when did it lose it?
1997.
When
Yes.
the country went over to China.
Yeah, the
When-
handover.
Is that, or would that be automatic?
No, the membership voted on it. Only one club didn't drop its royal, what do you call it?
The Yacht Club.
Yes.
Royal Hong Kong Yacht Club. Nomenclature or
Nomenclature.
royal warrant.
Now that's interesting because Royal Harare is still a royal golf club, royal in Zimbabwe. And they went through UDI.
Stenson 240 yards now. Downwind, certainly iron is the right club. It probably only a 5-iron by the looks of it. Trying to get it as high as possible. Just missing the right trap in the front there. That's the ideal. Oh, he missed the left one. And it's not ideal, but it's certainly not bad. Although, if he's putting, that little sprinkler might be in his line.
Now this is a great angle for Speith into this pin. That tee shot, he's got really lucky with that tee shot. It looked like about a 7-iron. Beautifully played. Is that possible? 6 or 7-iron?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful shot. Straight downwind.
Yeah, and he's got an uphill putt too.
And amazing how quickly that's stopping. I mean, yesterday that would have been racing on, but the 14 millimetres of rain that we had in a very short space of time last night and then a bit more overnight softened things considerably.
It was a great angle in also. Just had to clear that first bunker on the left side, avoid the little one on the right. And there you have it.
He's swinging well, isn't he? He's got everything nicely on plane. And Kim's third shot.
Bunker trouble for Kim here at the 17th.
Bit of watery sunshine, bit more blue sky around. It is due to get warmer and better as the day goes on, and the wind will shift round more from the west than the northwest where it's been this morning. Generally northerly winds are chilly in this part of the world, much warmer when it comes from the south, and tomorrow southeasterly is normally very warm. Speith and Koepka, two of America's finest. The reigning US Open champion Koepka, 4 under, 4 birdies, no drop shots, looking very dangerous. Ian Poulter in with a 67.
And look who's in 5th place, Ernie Els.
Yeah.
2 under par. Charlie Hoffman having a very, very good year on the PGA Tour. Also at 2 under par.
Peter Stenson, Kim Thomas, big names all at 1 under. Left-handed Brian Harmon's having a good year in America. Jason Day, an early birdie for the Australians, birdied the third. Good effort from Steve Stricker, 70. Justin Rose has dropped back to level par. Just a par 5 for him at the 15th. Ross Fisher, who a few years ago led every major at some point. No, that's not right. What did he?
He was leading in 2009.
He was certainly leading in Turnberry.
Yeah,
because when he had an 8, I think it was on the 5th from memory, had a snowman, and that rather stopped his progress.
Looks like, yeah. Has he got a putter out? Yes, it is a putter, so certainly that sprinkler is not going to be in his line. Although it would be mighty close. He's got to come up left. He's going to break from the left.
I think he's just too far away to get relief from.
Yes.
Maybe if the sprinkler head is within 2 club lengths of the green and your ball is within 2 club lengths of it and on line, you can take relief from it.
Actually, I think he's within 2 club
maybe,
lengths.
I think
there,
he is, yeah.
So, oh, you can tell there. That's definitely not in his line.
You have to give this a pretty good hit to get up over all that fairway grass, up a hill. Turn, turn.
The lady is not for turning. Kim will probably go and hold this for a birdie now.
It's a very unusual picture, isn't it?
That's extraordinary. Look at that club.
See how much weight he had on his left side there. That's a lot of something that amateurs, you can't, like when I'm coaching an amateur, I just can't convince them that you've got to have a lot of weight on your left side and to open the club face. And that really showed it so well, that these players, they lean left and they open the club face.
Speith now. Possible eagle. And this is just his range, isn't it?
He only had 3 or 4 today. Slow putt, this one. Well, tough to get it to the hole, in fact.
Turn a little bit from right to left. Well, good try. 5 under for Speith.
When we were watching the first groups early this morning, anything under par would have been a fantastic score if the conditions had remained the same. But clearly they are far more pleasant now, and it's being reflected in the scoring.
Leading on his own now at 5 under. 1 clear of Koepka, who's a hole or 2 back. Poulter in the clubhouse for the 67. Waiting for the next tranche of leading players to go out. Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson and Charles Schwartz will go out at 2:48. Then it's Rahm, Reed and Westwood. And then at 3:10, Phil Mickelson, Francesco Molinari and Mark Leishman, who will be our feature group, marquee group for the afternoon. Follow them from first ball till last.
He's going to start it just outside the right of the hole. And just a wee bit hard. A little softer than that would have gone in.
That's them bunkers, Dale. You mess with me and I'll get you.
Downwind. Not a good hole to make a 6 on.
First group teed off at 6:35 this morning. Last ones don't go out until 4:16, including Sebastian Munoz, who, Colombian, enjoyed success on the PGA Tour recently, nearly winning.
Ideally, you want to hook the right edge of the fairway.
They wend their way down the loopy path down through the gorse, coming to the end of what's been a pretty good day for all three of them, really, but certainly for Speith. A little disappointing for Kim to drop a shot at the 17th.
There are lots of spectacular golf courses in the world. And you know, you think of Pebble Beach and you think of Augusta National. They all have their own different type of beauty. But there are not many golf courses that are more beautiful than this one. You stand on every single hole, and every hole is just, it almost invites you to want to just grab a driver or grab a whatever club it is and go and play the hole.
It's a little bit like the Sandbelt courses down in Australia, Royal Melbourne and Kingston Heath. You walk onto those and you think, wow, this is just natural the way it was meant to be.
I want to play.
And you see immediately the shot that's required,
yes,
also, which is fabulous.
You know, it perhaps doesn't have the natural beauty of a Turnberry, but hole for hole, I think there are a few better golf courses I've ever seen.
Yeah, Turnberry and Troon are spectacular settings. Turnberry especially is. I haven't seen the new work, but apparently it's superb.
I'm sure it is.
The changes they've
When
made.
you hear about it, it just makes so much sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But they don't seem to be able to recreate these courses anymore.
No. No, we were talking about it the other evening, and I can't think of a great new links golf course. And I haven't played them all, to be honest, to be fair.
Well,
I haven't been to Bandon Dunes and all those
The
sort of
new
places.
Trump course up in the northeast of Scotland, they say, is as good as you'll see anywhere. It's supposed to be spectacular. Up north of Inverness.
Oh, he says it's very good.
Yeah. Oh, there's a blow for James Hahn, who was going so well. He's had a double bogey 7 at the 15th. Dropped him back to 1 under. Danny Willett, last year's Masters champion, in with a 71. Alfie Plant finished with a 71, was a couple under at one stage. And now Rose 1 over after such a good start.
And 22, 194.
Sergio Garcia bogeyed the first, has parred the next three.
637 club win.
Martin Keimer has just birdied the fifth after a couple of bogeys.
194. You want to just say 90. 90 would be lovely.
Yeah. It's 80.
80. 5 balls. 8 going up on it.
Kim actually found the bunker there. I thought he was going to end up short of it. Speith is in perfect position. Stenson, long way back, 212 yards. But playing downwind. And there's that wonderful clubhouse that Julian was talking about earlier.
That's a good shot there from Stenson from long range. Deserves a good long putt to fall.
The good news for Stenson, this is a course where you see a lot of back-to-back wins. Palmer won here and then defended the next year. Thompson won here the first of 3 in a row. Trevino won here and then defended the following year. So is it a good omen for Stenson?
Sounds like it.
Well, certainly he'd be trying to do what Tom Watson did, win at Royal Troon and then
Of
win
course,
here.
yeah. There you have it.
And Harrington winning at Carnoustie and then winning here.
That's right.
Following year.
He better get close to the front edge.
Sit down, sit down. That's a good shot. I don't think he quite knows that it's actually finished short of that bunker. There's that little mound on the right-hand side. It's Speith there now, just with 160. Straight downwind.
This will be no more than a 9-iron. It might even be a wedge.
It is a wedge.
Yeah.
And he likes it, I think.
Wow.
So he should. Beautiful shot.
Well, it's a good thing for these guys to be taking advantage this morning because they may well have some pretty horrible weather tomorrow. I mean, it may be quite horrible all day, actually. The forecast is not lovely at any point, but quite a lot of rain forecast and winds gusting up to 35 miles an hour, but liable to be worse in the afternoon. Made pretty good contact on that.
Ooh.
Cutting it fine.
Good thing he kept his head down. Because he wouldn't have liked to see how close that came to the bank. Interesting. Both players have bent left arms as they go through the impact area. Look at those crowds. The Open Championship. Best week of golf of the year.
That even just walking down the 18th on a Tuesday afternoon when there's nobody there, you still feel little tingles running up and down the spine, imagining what it must be like walking down there on Sunday afternoon. It's a unique experience. each year is different. Obviously, each venue is different, but they create these grandstands, the bleachers, to give such a stadium finish.
I thought it was a little over the top when you walked down there on Tuesday and you were waving to the crowds. There was nobody in the grandstand.
Wouldn't you do the same?
I didn't, but the video of you was quite funny.
I used to commentate on the Royal British Legion Festival of Remembrance at the Albert Hall. And one year, I got locked in there doing my preparations the night before, and I couldn't get out. Literally, it's midnight, and I'm locked in and no way of getting out. I did eventually get out. The man was sleeping down in the basement, came and let me out. But while I was panicking, I went and stood on the stage there. All the lights on in the Albert Hall, you know, fantastic arena, not a soul there. And the band had left their instruments there, and I played the trumpet very badly. So I sang The Sound of Music and played Edelweiss on the trumpet to the adoration of the massed stands all around. It was great fun. I can at least say I have played on the stage at the Royal Albert Hall.
Do you think we should report it?
Anyway, it shouldn't be too tough a shot here for Kim. Just nip it off here over the bunker, run it out with a little bit of check spin.
Drop.
Lovely execution, lovely result. Would have liked the birdie for the immediate bounce back. If you can't be great, you can at least dream of being great. And we can't all be great like you. Lots more blue sky and sunshine around now, which is encouraging for the later starters. And well played, Kim, for a man who really can't have played much of this sort of golf. Level par 70. Henrik Stenson would just have been, I mean, obviously he'd love to go out and shoot a 64, but he would have just been hoping today not to shoot himself in the foot, to stay in the game, and he's very much done that. 3 birdies, 2 bogeys, maybe 4 birdies if he can knock this one in.
He really does deserve to make one of these. He's been so close so often.
Astonishing to think that he won at 20 under par last year. Doesn't happen too often in the Open Championship.
That'd be a bit disappointing for him. He wanted to at least give it a chance. Well, he didn't pass the flag, pass the cup.
The last 2 winners here, Harrington was 3 over in 1998. Mark O'Meara was level par.
What do you think? Jordan Spieth's got a putt here for a 64, which is only 1 off major championship record score. It was pretty remarkable given the start of the day wasn't that pleasant.
And he's made it look very easy, hasn't it? Hasn't he?
Actually, he's done well when you think he has missed a few fairways and he's had a few unpleasant lies, so he's scrambled well, done extremely well not to drop a shot. Oh, hello.
He'll be frustrated with that. He'll have to end up with a birdie, especially after that second shot.
And the 15th.
Yeah.
Took 3 out the bunker at 15. And then that putt there, it could have been 2 shots better.
I know the myth grows as each year goes by, but you sort of think that Tiger Woods would never have missed that. Especially on the 18th. leading by 2 at the moment, though.
And I'll be surprised if he's not leading at the end of the day, at least tied for the lead.
Leading by 2 because Brooks Koepka has dropped a shot at the 16th. Stenson for his par. Safely in. 69, 1 under par for the opening, for the defending champion. His opening round. And I would think he'll be very comfortable with that. "41-year-old, still very fit, very strong. In fact, I think probably fitter and stronger than he's been for a while. He did have those little knee niggles and back injury, a sore neck.